Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss about Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, his era as Prime Minister of Pakistan from 1971 to 1977. During Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's era, there were some already problems going on, and those problems were that many Pakistanis were there, Pakistani soldiers were there. Almost 90,000 Pakistani soldiers were there in India as war prisoners. So it was the responsibility of Zedi Bhutto in the very beginning to bring those soldiers back to Pakistan. Along with that, he was the first prime minister who was elected by first direct elections in the history of Pakistan. After becoming the prime minister, he brought some reforms in the country and a nationalization policy also. In result of his policies, what happened in Pakistan, we are going to discuss in the upcoming slides. You are going to watch all these slides and up to the end. Subscribe the channel and share it with your friends. There are many interesting details about the historical events related to Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Let's see what happened during his era. And this was the time when Zedi Bhutto was very much interested about changing the country, about helping the people who were facing problems during the time of Ayub Khan. During the time of Ayub Khan, mostly 200 families were having all wealth in their control, and gap between rich and poor increased a lot. So finally, public decided at a very large scale, decided to bring such a person who was in favor of them and who was going to bring such policies which were for public welfare and not for the welfare of a specific group of elites. So in this manner, at that time, Bhutto brought a new constitution, Constitution 1973. It was a very great success, and he utilized all the persons who were experts in their departments, and in this manner an excellent constitution was prepared for Pakistan. It was the first time in the history of Pakistan that first directly elected public representative National Assembly and Senate had prepared this constitution. So it was public's favorite constitution. It is still there in Pakistan, and it is also written in this constitution that if anyone is going to abrogate this constitution, that person will be considered as in the case of treason, and that person would be given death sentence. This is the reason this constitution is prevailing in Pakistan and it is not abrogated, though there had been changes in this constitution time to time. Anyways, let's see what was done by Zedi Bhutto during his era as prime minister. Second important step which was taken by Bhutto was related to the rural development of Pakistan, and health facilities for the public were very less. So he worked for that purpose, and it was these were successful steps of Bhutto. Then he brought some educational reforms also, and in result he made primary education free, and along with that he also built many schools. Previous private schools were nationalized, and some reforms were brought that students would have to pay very less for their studies, and they could continue their studies in very less resources even. Then he brought some reforms related to armed forces of Pakistan also. And it was Bhutto's concern that previously many army governments had been gone, like Ayub Khan's 10 years era was there, which was under army. Then before that, Iskandar Mirza's era was there. So now Bhutto had the concern that army could any time and had the habit of interfering in the government matters. So for this purpose, he established his control over that, and he made armed and air force chiefs to resign. And in this manner, he set his and secured his position. Then after that, at the federal level, in Islamabad level, he established Federal Security Force, which was for his personal defense, and it was to deal with his political opponents. This was the political party which later on, it was not a political party, it was a security force, which later on became the reason of death sentence of Bhutto, because security force had taken such steps where they were alleged that on the orders of Bhutto, they had killed a person who was Ahmed Kasuri, who was the opponent of Bhutto, political opponent of Bhutto. So in this manner, later on that case, Bhutto was given death sentence. Then in the constitution reforms, some steps which were taken and which were helpful. That constitution basically established the authority of public, because it was not president oriented constitution. Previously, constitutions of 1962 and 56 were giving most authority to the president, and who was from army. So this was the first time this constitution was providing full authority to the prime minister, who was a public representative. Pakistan People's Party was a very famous party of that time, and it was in fact in reaction of the elite based policies of Ayub Khan. Then later on, he discussed and details were given related to parliamentary democracy. Parliamentary democracy means that parliament was going to be chosen by the public, and public representatives in a democratic manner were going to work in that institution. Parliament has two houses, upper house and lower house, which is upper house is Senate and lower house is National Assembly. So this was the parliamentary system based on democracy, not on selection purposes. So in this manner, it confirmed that now on, Pakistan's government would always be public oriented and public based if those are according to the constitution. One main problem which was there, that a party leadership in this constitution, when it was prepared, that party leadership was under Bhutto, and it was providing large scale authority to Bhutto. So in result of this kind of authority, later on, whatever problems happened, when things went wrong, everything was blamed on Bhutto, and that is why Bhutto was given punishments related to policies which went wrong. Related to educational reforms, he introduced free primary education, and there were some student passes also for traveling, and along with that, books were also, there were some bookstores established where students could get books on half rates. So this kind of steps were taken which provided ease to the students to live and study easily in this country. So along with that, it was also decided that more schools, colleges, and universities were going to be established for students. Buses were started to provide them easy access to their educational institutions. But along with that, when some facilities were given to the students, the jobs of teachers and administrators in the schools, which were in colleges and universities, which were previously in the private level, now those were also confirmed, and in result of those confirmed jobs, many of those people who became government employees, they started neglecting their duties. So in result, the standard of education declined sharply, and there was not much check on those institutions, because Bhutto's government was in the federal area, and they could not go to each part of the country and check the quality of the schools and educational institutions. So due to lack of check and balance, there was decline seen in the educational system of Pakistan, though the chances of education for everyone had increased. Now, some more reforms were introduced by Bhutto, that medicines were very expensive in those days, and those were not in the approach of every citizen of Pakistan. So to solve that problem, he ended the medical brand names were banned, and it was also because they were charging very high from the public. And in this manner, some medicines which were with brand names, they reduced their charges, and those became cheaper. And some of those ended in their companies in Pakistan. And while on the other side, he permitted that private companies without brand names could make their medicines. And in this manner, profits of chemists fall drastically, because at local level, many companies started making medicines, and those were of very cheap rate, and in this manner, profit margin was very low in those medicines. So many of the medicine companies stopped working, but in result, standard of medicines also declined, because there was not much check that those new companies which were making their medicines, were those on right formulas and according to the health standards or not. So in this manner, it was also, on one side, it was a blessing that the rates of medicines declined, but on the other side, there was the problem that substandard medicines are also there, which were causing some deaths in the country. He also thought of bringing, because bureaucracy is the administrative body and mind of the country. And they are helping politicians to work, but the brains are from the bureaucracy. So at that time, they were in much authority. And Bhutto thought, and this was the administrative part of the country at federal level and at all overall country level. So he thought of bringing their authority in control, and for this purpose, he introduced some reforms which are known as administrative reforms. So it was in occupational. It was introduced that there would be occupational groups instead of the CSP officers, and those occupational groups were going to work to support and give suggestions at bureaucratic level to the politicians according to their occupations. And in this manner, to some extent, he put a control on those bureaucrats who were openly working for all fields in the country. Then United Pay Scales, national pay scales were also established in these reforms, and it was said that no officer must have more money than whatever pay scale and whatever system is set for them and whatever facilities were given to them. Then reservation of posts were there previously, and in result of these reservation of posts for elite cadre, a lot of posts with very high facilities were going to a specific group. So that was also reserved, that was also banned, and that was abolished. In result of abolishment of that, many posts became open, that all citizens must come to pass the exams which were of very high level, and then after that they can come in the civil services as CSP officers. There was a very well established GSP academy also, which was also abolished by him. Later on, this academy was re-established, but at that time, he banned that academy because he felt that it was causing a lot of expense to the government, and there was another way of training those people, which was joint pre-service training program. And before that, those people were given training, and then afterwards, if they were able to pass that training, they were going to be the part of civil services of Pakistan. There was also a system of promotions, not on the basis of liking and disliking, but it was a vertical movement. Means if someone was at scale 1, then definitely that person was going to go on scale 2, not on scale 5 suddenly, because that person was liked by the president. So this kind of rules were there, where vertical movement means that they will start from, if they start from scale 6, 17, then they will definitely move to scale 18, 19, 20, 21. Not in this manner that they are suddenly picked up from a lower scale and given a very high post. So this kind of rule was also set at that time, because previously experiences were there that people were given promotions on the basis of liking and disliking. There was another rule also that Federal Public Service Commission was made, which was where officers were by exams and by very tough trainings, they were selected for federal government to work in the federal system of government and federal administrative system at capital level. It was a very strong step taken by Bhutto that he decided to make Pakistan a nuclear power. And for this purpose, he worked very hard. Even he got the enmity of international powers in result of this program which he introduced. Because in those days, India was also launching its nuclear program, and it was also declaring that it was going to have nuclear technology. So to make the defense of Pakistan compatible, it was very important to make the nuclear power in the country. So for this purpose, Pakistan started working for its nuclear program, and in result, it was successful, and Pakistan got its nuclear reactor plant. In result, the uranium which was used for nuclear technology that could be activated, it was a big step of taking a nuclear reactor plant. It was quite expensive and it was not accessible for every country. So Pakistan got its plant, and then afterwards, next step was developing nuclear bomb. So Dr. Qadir Khan came to Pakistan, and along with this formula, and he was given the he became the in charge of whole of this nuclear program in Kahuta, and then along with that, nuclear missiles and bombs and defense technology and electricity technology, all those were developed during that time. For nuclear electricity technology, there were two nuclear power plants. One was in Hub and the other one is in Chashma, Johorabad. So those are the nuclear electricity technology for the country, and which is with very less nuclear power, immense electricity can be produced to fulfill that requirement. And along with that, the next step was developing Pakistan's defense system. So for that, nuclear bombs and formula came to Pakistan. So that was successfully established at that time. In 1956, then the Pakistan Energy Commission was there, but Bhutto basically provided charges and authority to this institution to work for the Pakistan's nuclear program. So this program was very successful under him, though he was threatened by international powers that why he made a Muslim country a nuclear power, but and it was quite expensive also. Many sanctions and allegations were there on Pakistan, but Pakistanis were quite firm about that they were going to get this, continue with this technology, and Alhamdulillah, Pakistan is a nuclear power according to equal to the other nuclear powers in the world. So in those days, it was a problem that Masjid al-Aqsa was set fire by Jews which were taking over Palestine, and Muslim world was very much hurt because of that. And in result, Muslims established their Organization of Islamic Cooperation in 1973. And afterwards, in 1974, it was a second roundtable conference. This is the picture of first OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries. Then second meeting of OIC, Organization of Islamic Summit. It happened in Pakistan, Lahore. And in result of this, there were some very important decisions taken that Muslim countries were going to establish Islamic bloc, and they were going to cooperate with each other to set a system where Muslim countries are doing their trade, and they are having their own banks, they are having their own institutions in universities and scholarship programs for their students. So Muslim world was going to have, like European Union, their own system. So those decisions were stamped by all the important Muslim leaders, and there was a chance that Islamic bloc was going to be was initiated and was going to be established under the very popular leadership of all the Muslim world. And this was an eye-opening, and this was an alarming thing for the democratic bloc and the communist bloc in the world, because two of those blocs were having their authority and they did not want a new Islamic bloc. And along with that, there was a chance when Islamic bloc was going to discuss about the same defense system for all the Muslim countries and visa-free policies among the Muslim countries. So it was alarming for them, and they started thinking that if this bloc was going to be well set and established, then definitely Muslims were going to be the most because these were most populous areas, and these were the areas which were full of mineral resources and oil. So the Muslim bloc was going to, Islamic bloc was going to establish their monopoly over the world. So after that, these powers started working against this bloc, and especially those leaders who were there at that time. As Bhutto was hanged, Shah Faisal was murdered, and then after that, all different leaders who were there, they were murdered one after other within a very short time. Some problems were faced by Bhutto's rule, and those problems were related to the failure of his nationalization program. Some other problems were there, that many nine political parties which were opponent of Bhutto, they became, they joined together and they established their system, where they started opposing Bhutto together, and they started taking help of ulamas also, who declared that the constitution had not much Islamic reforms in that, and not much Islamic rules in that. So this was a problem for Bhutto, though Bhutto tried to satisfy public by giving Friday as an off day, and some other reforms related to Islam. But the problem was that most of these things were not satisfying the opponent group, and they became active against him. Along with that, mostly political party power was in the hands of Bhutto. So whatever was going wrong, even by any part of the in any part of the country, Bhutto was directly blamed for that. Then pharmaceutical companies, which were given the charges of the responsibility of preparing medicines, those also started, there were problems that those companies were not bringing high standard medicines, and in result there were problems that public were, to some extent, many groups got the chance to talk against Bhutto, that policy of changing the medicine and banning the brand names had created problems for the health of the citizens. And then international companies also ended their business and they winded up. So those chemists who were earning from them and that group also turned against Bhutto. International opposition was already there because of OIC and thinking about and giving the idea of Islamic bloc and nuclear program of Pakistan now inside the country, though he was very popular, but because the outcomes of nationalization policy were causing problems, so those negative outcomes were all blamed upon Bhutto. In the same manner, in educational institutions also, government was not able to establish many schools very quickly, while education was made free and compulsory for every child, and there was a high ratio of children in the country, while in comparison to that, number of schools were less. So a number of children in the schools increased, and per class increase in number of students caused the decline in the educational system. So that was also blamed upon Bhutto, and people started thinking that he was unable to work along with his policies successfully. Then in the meanwhile, when this opposition was becoming active, in the meanwhile, there were some conspiracies also going on against Bhutto, and there were government had focal power, that political power was mainly with Bhutto. So he was responsible for whatever was wrong. Along with that, whatever were the activities of FSF, because it was a federal security force for the defense of federal government and Bhutto. So whatever were their activities, those were also blamed upon Bhutto. So in this manner, when FSF killed his political opponent Ahmed Kasuri, so that was blamed upon Bhutto, and later on he was charged for that. He was given death sentence. Another problem was that when General Zia took over the government and established martial law in the country, it was 1977, and election campaign was going on. once Bhutto won the elections, but his political opponents declared that Bhutto had won the election by rigging. And Bhutto was very confirm about that whatever elections he had won, those are because of his popularity. So in result, Bhutto announced that he was going to held the elections again. So when these elections were election campaign second time was going on, at that time without the elections conduction, Bhutto was arrested before that, and martial law was imposed in the country by General Zia. General Zia, for 2 years, 1977 to 1979, kept on thinking about, and case was there in the court against Bhutto, and all the time he was thinking about how to get rid of Bhutto, because public was in so much in rage, and on the roads, on the processions and demonstrations were there in favor of Bhutto, that Zia thought that until and unless Bhutto was alive, he was not able to, he could not rule the country for a longer time. While he had the plan of ruling the country for a longer time, though he kept saying all the time that he was there only for 90 days as per rule, and he was going to establish a democratic government, and he was going to leave the government. But he wanted to, inside his mind, he had the plan of staying in the government for a longer time. He stayed in the government for almost 11 years. But at that time, he realized in these 2 years that until and unless Bhutto was alive, he was unable to continue ruling for such a long period of time. So he decided to give death sentence to Bhutto, and for this purpose, in the Supreme Court, he changed many judges. Some of them were retired, some of them were changed, and such judges in these 2 years were brought who were in favor of Zia and against Bhutto, and decision was given for the death sentence of Bhutto. Although it was a very dark time for Pakistan's history, that first prime minister who was elected by the direct vote of public was given death sentence, and public was quite enraged. But but Zia was so strict in his policies and punishments that public was unable to speak anything against it. Though there were processions in the beginning, but those people were so badly punished who came in the processions that public couldn't do anything. It was a very sad time when Zade Bhutto was given death sentence, and he was such a brain that international Muslim countries at international level were asking Zia not to give death sentence but to give exile to Bhutto, and he could go in those countries like Saudi Arabia or Libya, and he could work for them. But Zia was quite in much threat that until and unless Bhutto was alive, he could not rule the country. So that is why he decided that he must be given death sentence. Later on, investigations were done, and it was declared that it was a judicial murder, but the loss was done up to then. If we evaluate Bhutto's time period, we can come up with this idea that quality of social justice and for public orientation policies and rules were there, his intentions were there for the public welfare. And it was the first time when someone out of institution started thinking about poor people and the rejected group of the society, and he started working for their welfare. If he was going to get enough time and his policies could be implemented in a proper manner, then and there was a check and balance also on the nationalization policies, it could be the best way of working for the public welfare, and these could be the best policies. But nationalization policy basically caused not only the decline in the standard of the institutions, but along with that, many of the elite group and rich people who had those institutions turned against Bhutto, and Bhutto got not only enemies at international level due to his nuclear power plan, but along with that, many of the other inside the country, many of the enemies also. So this is the end of the discussion. I hope you learned some details about Zade Bhutto. Subscribe the channel, share it with your friends, and watch the video fully. So in this manner, this part of history is there. Later on, after Bhutto, we are going to bring a video about Zia-ul-Haq and his policies also, because Zia was the major player at that time who caused Bhutto's death. What was done by Zia when he became the ruler of the country and when he ruled for such a long period of time. So thank you so much. Take care.